Welcome to Learning SQL on Azure. My name is Rafael. If you notice now, we're in the on-premises environment. So what I want you to do is just log on to the SQL Server using the SSMS. And if I expand this, you'll notice that we are very familiar with the environment for the on-premises SQL. And that is we've got folders for databases, security, server objects, replication, polybase, always on, and we also have the SQL agent with jobs and so on. And you're very familiar with this. The reason I'm mentioning this because this is considered an SQL server. In the next video, when I show you how to create an SQL database on Azure, and I'm going to use the word creating an SQL server, it's actually not a full-fledged server as this is, and I'll show you that in a second. When you're creating a database on Azure, you're actually creating a SQL server, but it's basically a container that primarily has only the database. And we're going to use the comparison for the SQL database on Azure compared to this on-premises. So I just want you to be aware of that. And a couple of other things that I do want to mention that I've mentioned before, and that is that when you create a database on Azure, it's a self-contained database with its resources. And if I were to create a second Azure SQL database, then those two SQL databases are completely isolated from each other. And we cannot write a select statement or a use command when we log on to the SSMS to interact with those databases. And let me illustrate that by the following. So here you'll notice right here, I'll be providing this script for you. So if you'll notice here, if I expand the databases, now I'm on premises. If I expand this, you'll see that I don't have a database called prod. So what I'm going to do is basically the following. I'm simply creating I'm going to provide this for you. And of course, this is going to create a database called prod. It's going to use that database called prod. It's going to create a table called names. It's going to insert simply one value or one row called Tom Smith, and then it's going to give me the select statement. So if I execute that, it'll just take a split second and it's successful. Then if I raise it, you can see that I've got Tom Smith. Now if I go to the databases here and refresh it, you'll notice that I do have a prod database with the table we created. And if you want to practice this a couple of times, you can execute this, which will delete the database. And I'm going to highlight it to comment it out. Now, what I want to mention about this is the following. You'll notice, of course, I also have a database called AdventureWorks 2019. So I can choose. So in order for me to connect to this database right here, I can use the Use AdventureWorks 2019 Go, and then I can select anything from that database. And if I execute this and run it, you'll notice that the AdventureWorks has been connected and I've got the 16 rows from this table. However, what I want to point out is when I create a SQL database on the Azure, you'll notice here when we connect to it through the SSMS, it will two things. It will not have the following structure. It will simply be security and a database, as I'll illustrate. And the other thing is that when I create a second database in Azure, I cannot use this kind of format. I cannot say use let's say Azure database number 2 and then a select statement. That is because they're completely isolated from each other. So that's what I want to point out in the next video. So I think we're up to that stage now where we're really going to get into now more of a demonstrations of the Azure environment. So I'll see you in the next video. So my name is Rafael and this is Learning SQL on Azure. See you in the next video.